Joining us on the line tonight is a man with a very rich history in the professional wrestling business. He's a former WWE World Tag Team Champion. He's a three-time IWGP World Tag Team Champion. He's a current star of MLW and on the Fury Road going through Wisconsin, the one and only Davey Boy Smith Jr. joining the two-man power trip. Davey Boy, how you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you. Like I was just telling you earlier, I have been lucky enough, and MLW's put some good faith into me. They contacted me last minute to move early tomorrow morning and do some PR work for them on the news. So, very busy weekend. That was the match with MJF coming up for Fury Road as well. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm happy about all the exposure MLW's given me.
Oh yeah, the perfect place for you to end up in MLW, and it's the Hart Foundation versus the Dynasty. Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus MJF Saturday night at Fury Road in Milwaukee. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you can go to MLWtickets.com. Obviously, MLW a huge presence right now with beIN Sports and all these events that you guys have been running. But you got this match here with MJF, a guy who's really on the tip of a lot of tongues in the wrestling world. But are you looking forward to this match here in Milwaukee and this Fury Road event?
I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know, MJF, I think that he's a very talented young competitor, but he has a big mouth and he likes to run it. So come this Saturday, Fury Road, I'm going to have to shut his mouth up, possibly for good, and have to teach him a little lesson that Stu Hart taught a lot of people down in the dungeon. And when he'd stretch them either till they tapped out or till they passed out. And we're going to see which one of those comes first for MJF. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a very long time since I've been in Milwaukee, probably over 10 years since I was with WWE. And I always had a lot of great fans and a few friends down in Milwaukee also. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans of Milwaukee. And hopefully they enjoy me devouring and stretching MJF.
Milwaukee, obviously a great, rich wrestling history, a great town, great fans. And for a guy like MJF who likes to run his mouth, it's a perfect place for a little bit of those boos to come raining down. But if you're going to cinch anything in, definitely go for some kind of face lock and neutralize that mouth, because that's going to be his key to victory, is talking a big game.
Oh, I've got quite a few surprises for MJF. I have a very, very dangerous little crossface. I actually used it in a blood sport match against Killer Cross, and he's a very tough competitor. He tapped out within a few seconds. The pain is unbearable. So when I get my hands on MJF, I think before he's able to tap out, he may just pass out.
That's great. And, and you think about you and your history with MLW going back to even before you were in WWE and really getting some great exposure with Tyson Kidd as your tag team partner, and seeing you come all the way back here and be such a mainstay of the resurgence or the reemergence of MLW. How does it feel for you to start off so young with MLW and see them come back really out of the dust and rise back into this great prominence, and you be a part of that?
Oh, it's great. You know, when I first started in MLW, I was, I think, 17 years old. I was doing my chemistry homework on the airplane, heading back because it was right around midterms in January. And, there was a lot of great stars there at the time, like myself, Lee Hart, Jack Evans, Roderick Strong, Rocky Romero, who now works with me in New Japan. But, I have a lot of history with MLW, and Court Bauer's given me a really great opportunity. And it's good that we have prior history and prior relationship working there, and Court also was working briefly in WWE when I was there too. So there's definitely a lot of good history there with MLW, and hopefully MLW releases or publicizes my first couple matches there with TJ Wilson as the Stampede Bulldogs. It's really fun to go back and watch a lot of that, the older footage, and see how good I was at the time when I was 7, but how much I've grown also as a performer and so.
Yeah, and if people haven't seen those early days of MLW, I mean, it was star-studded when you look back and you see some of the guys that passed through there, like yourself, early in your career, and then some of the veterans that passed through too, and some of the wars and some of the matches.
Like David, Steve Bruno, Dusty Rhodes, Steve Williams, Mike Godson, all those guys for sure.
Oh, yeah, the Extreme Horsemen, the War Games matches. I mean, it was amazing to see what they were doing at the time, when there wasn't any real strong number 2. I mean, Ring of Honor was still in its younger days, so was TNA. But MLW had something. And again, it's like that full circle moment for you. Now you're back here as you rise and you're doing events and you're doing pay-per-view, iPay-per-view. And now you're in Milwaukee. And, it's just really cool to kind of look back and see how far you've come. And it's a really great story.
Absolutely. And, I'm going to put MJF through the ringer pretty good coming up here on Saturday. But after MJF, after that's finished and done with, I have my eyes set on other goals in MLW, and that's the World Heavyweight Championship that Tom Lawler currently holds. And I respect Tom Lawler as a fighter and a pro wrestler, and I think that we match up pretty good. But I haven't done a whole lot of singles competition in MLW yet. It's been a lot of tag stuff, so obviously I have to prove myself in singles competition as well. But hopefully that'll be shown improvement with my upcoming battle with MJF. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the future with MLW. And they're set on the MLW Heavyweight Championship, and I think that we'll have a lot of great matches for the fans, myself and Filthy Tom Lawler.
There's no doubt about that. And thinking of not only singles, but you're talking about tag division, thinking about you and Teddy Hart, basically an awesome tag team with some phenomenal tag team maneuvers. Hart Foundation is back. What is that like to really be the next generation, the next wave of Hart Foundation along with Brian Pillman Jr.?
Yeah, we were just talking about the history, and history is so important. And it's come full circle with myself and Teddy Hart. We were the first H2 Hart Foundation in the old MLW in about 2004. And now the new generation with Brian Pillman Jr. that's been added. We've ascertained him, I suppose. And it's really great to see. And Teddy Hart and I have natural chemistry in the ring, being that we're blood relatives. We've been wrestling with each other since we were children. And one thing I think is really great is Teddy Hart and I are both a little bit like polar opposites outside of the ring. So kind of that magnetism going against each other, but when we go in the ring, it sticks together. So, and I think that I have power in the size and the power moves, and the technical abilities. Teddy's got the amazing flying, amazing technical abilities as well. And he's a very fierce competitor. So I think that we could be perhaps one of the greatest tag teams going right now.
As far as MLW, I guess you kind of have free reign. They don't, like Court doesn't say, oh, you can't wrestle here, can't wrestle there. You're kind of open to where you can go into Japan not whenever you want, but you're kind of open to it?
Yeah. Well, of course, New Japan is the top priority. And if I have to, go there for a tour, that if it runs into an MLW conflict, of course, I have to choose New Japan. But aside from that, I consider MLW next to New Japan the top priority.
Yep, and now we bring it back to MLW and Fury Road this Saturday, June 1st in Milwaukee. It's going to be a hell of a match. You versus MJF, the Hart Dynasty versus the Dynasty. And if you haven't checked out MLW on beIN Sports, you sure aren't missing out. Go to MLWtickets.com for more information, and also MLW.com. Davey boy, before we let you go, please leave us with some parting words about this match and what MJF's going to expect one more time.
Absolutely. I'm going to stretch him, MJF, like one of the action figures, like King Kong Bundy and George Still, where you can grab their arms, pull them apart, and MJF, by the time I'm done with him, he'll be about China's awesome. Let's put it that way. I'm looking forward to showing some of my new submission techniques, some of my vicious, brutal processes, new kicks, a lot of different unique strikes. And MJF, he's going to be very sorry for anything he said about Bret the Hitman Hart or my family. And mark my words, as soon as this match is done, he's just a stepping stone. I'm looking forward to the future, and that future is the MLW Heavyweight Championship. I'm looking forward to challenging Tom Lawler.